So part of what we're saying we want to do is to, oh, hey, hello everyone, this is Tracy. Y'all, we are live, LIVE at Rainier Valley Leadership Academy, and I am so excited to be here. I have some amazing scholars here with me, more in the room, tons outside. This is their last week of school. But what I'm here to represent is a couple of things. I have multiple hats on. But as it relates to the Black Education Strategy Roundtable, we're doing a huge video project called the Black Student Report Card. And what we're doing is making creating a space where we elevate youth voices, where we get to talk about who we are. We get to change the narrative about how everyone around the country thinks about Black students. And so my first question is to some Black scholars, and the question is, when you think about Black brilliance, when you think about amazing Black students, describing yourself or describing the friends that you have here, people that you know at this school, how would each of you describe Black brilliance? So first I'm going to start with you. I'm going to have you introduce yourself and tell us what grade you're in, and then say Black brilliance to me is, and just tell us what you think.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tatum Carter. I'm in 8th grade. Black brilliance to me means in achieving what you want most, like whether that's a career you're trying to get to, or if that's just like having good grades, or playing a sport that you play, like me. I play basketball and a couple of other sports. But truly, I would say it means, that's a really good question.
Great question, right?
Yeah.
Do you think about yourself, when you think about Black brilliance, you're an athlete. Do you say, that's me?
Yeah, I would.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. I love that. I love it. What about you when you think about Black brilliance? Anything else you want to say? Feel free to bring it up. We're just having a conversation here.
Okay.
So what about you? Say your name, what grade are you in, and when you think about Black brilliance, yourself, describing your fellow students here, what do you think about?
Well, first of all, my name is Sneak Khalid. I'm in 8th grade. And when I think of Black brilliance, right, excellence, right, I see dedication in the struggle of Black people facing what they've been through, what they've achieved in life, like she said, and I agree, because we have fought all this time in all this world to get here where we are today. So I do see a lot of dedication and some very supportive motives.
I love it. Black brilliance. Thank you so much. We also have, over to my left, we have some people who support Black youth. So we're going to focus on these beautiful individuals to my left. Dr. Melissa Commodore, tell us a little bit about why supporting Black youth is so important. And what is your name again?
Henry Arthur Jenkins Jr.
Did you hear that? Henry Arthur Jenkins Jr. Okay. Henry works for RVLA. We're actually going to start with him. Henry, tell us about Black brilliance and the youth that you work with on a daily basis. Who are you? What is your role? And tell us about Black brilliance.
Well, my name is Henry Arthur Jenkins Jr., and I'm the academic counselor here at Rainier Valley Leadership Academy. And when I think about Black brilliance, I see it every day. I see it with the scholars that go to school here. I see it with the families. I think it's important that we celebrate Black brilliance, Black excellence, because in that celebration we get to understand our community, we get to understand ourselves, and when we celebrate it, when we recognize it and see how important it is, then we grow. And as a community, we can grow because we're no longer letting people dictate who we are. We now take that narrative and we're able to grow on that narrative. That's what I think about.
That's good. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Dr. Melissa, similar question for you. When you think about Black brilliance, tell us, what do you think about?
Thank you. Bill, thank you for having me, and thank you two young ladies for speaking. That was powerful. I think about the young woman that just spoke. I think about the young Black women that I see here. I think about what that young woman said, having to struggle and making it through and being more than an overcomer, to stick with whatever process it is, not letting trauma or what someone did to you dictate your present or your future. You're writing your own narrative, so that's what I think of myself.
I love that. I love that so much. So what I love most about this day is that we have multiple voices. We have two new scholars who are going to introduce themselves. Tell us who you are, and tell us, I'll start with you, tell us your name, what grade you're in, and then tell us, when you think about Black brilliance, when you think about describing yourself, describing your friends, describing the people that you know at this wonderful school, tell us a little bit about what does Black Brilliance mean to you?
My name is Zion. I'm in 8th grade. And when I think of like Black Brilliance, I think of like doing something to a certain level of standards and execution. Sorry. I think like Black people have been through so much, and people expect us that we won't do things at a certain level. They think that we'll fail and we'll not do things right. And I think Black Brilliance is exceeding people's expectations of us.
Did you hear that? Black Brilliance is exceeding people's expectations. John, this is a live broadcast. Can you confirm that you can hear her? Her voice is a little low. You got a thumbs up? I love it. I love it. So we're going to also have you introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. What does Black Brilliance, Black Excellence, what does that mean to you?
I'm Naomi. I'm in 8th grade. And
Talk a little bit louder for me.
I'm Naomi. I'm in 8th grade. And Black Brilliance,
Black Brilliance, Black Excellence, all of that.
Just like going beyond the standards, going beyond what people say for you, like say you can and can't do. Like she said, I feel like Black people have been put to like a standard of what we can and can't do for our past and stuff. So I feel like we just need to tell them that we can do what like others can and things like that.
I love that. I love that so much. So, Michaela, I'm going to continue to have you mic people up, get the flow going, get names. Bayon, if you're interested in coming on, or anyone who wants to come on live before we get the official 1 o'clock panel going, let me know. Are you interested? She's giving me the wink. She's like, wink, wink, I'm working it, girl, I'm working it. So tell me a little bit more about when you think about where this school has changed this community. You've been a part of this for a while. Tell us how this school has actually changed the community and how we think about Black students.
Very good question. I think just the school being here has changed the community. What we represent as a school, but having the school in this community, representing this community for the community and by the community has changed the community just by being here.
I'm going to have you look into the camera.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I know you're looking at me, but this is for the recording, so I'm going to have you look right there. Now tell us again about Black Brilliance and how Rainier Valley Leadership Academy is truly changing the status quo, how we're changing how we think about Black students.
I think
Black scholars, excuse
scholars,
me.
yes.
Yes.
I think for just being in the community as a school, it changes the community's perception of what Black scholars can be. It changes the perception for not only their families, but for people in the community to look at this school as a representation of how Black scholars can be, how they will be, and what the future looks like for our Black students.
I love it. I love it. And Dr. Melissa, you host a special group, a special organization. Did you tell us about your youth program and what it does and why it does exactly what we're meant to do today, is really elevate the voices of our youth?
Definitely, definitely. Thank you. Well, I have a company called Internal Leadership Development Institute, and under that company, I have different programs, and I'm developing a program now called Hidden Queens. And what it is a whole leadership development program for BIPOC girls. That's Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, other girls of color, so even Native American girls. And I do it to heal them from the inside out. So a lot of adults go through trauma when they are a child. That's the majority of time when you hit your trauma. So what I do is I give them tools, give them resources, teach them how to, if they go through trauma, how to get through it, how to possibly avoid it if it's avoidable, and how to overcome it. So therefore, it's not dictating their life. They do not grow up to be toxic leaders, but they grow up to be whole leaders. They heal from the inside out. So no matter what they go through, they can get through it and be intact. And my belief is that when we are born, we are all born whole. Everybody is born whole. But the immediate when we come out of that womb, the world chisels off at us. And so what this program does is teaches you to be whole. You don't have to have the world chisel off at you anymore and feel like you're less than.
Wow, that's powerful. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am so loving that. If you guys can imagine, we're here with a live event. So we got a lot of things going on. We're going to have a panel of youth joining us in a minute. So right now I have 2 youth here, and then we're going to replace these individuals here, these adults, with 2 more youth, and Steve Smith, who's the Executive Director for Black Education Strategy Roundtable, is actually on his way as well. So he's going to join this conversation. But for right now, I'm going to talk a little bit more to these youth. We're going to get down and dirty here in a minute, and then we're going to bring in even more youth, because it really is about hearing the voices of our youth scholars today. So, beautiful one, how are you?
Good.
Excellent. So, you sound great. So tell us, what is your name and what grade are you in? And if you had to describe Black excellence, when you think about yourself and all the great things that you love to do, what do you love to do?
My name is Olivia Underwood. I'm in 7th grade. And things I enjoy doing, I like cooking and yeah. And to me, Black excellence means to just because of your skin color doesn't mean you could do great things, because there are many Black people out there who have invented things that we use in our everyday lives. So don't just judge yourself that you can't do something, or don't let anyone else judge yourself that you can't do something just because of your skin color.
Yo, did you hear what she just said? We're gonna actually continue to elevate this voice. When Steve comes, we're gonna make sure he hears all of this, right? Because part of what his role is, he goes into the legislature. He makes sure that when we talk about ourselves, that this is what people hear. So I'm loving this. What is your name, my dear? Yes.
My name is Journey Duke. I'm in 7th grade, and when I think of Black excellence, I think of Black people exceeding the standards that was put for them and creating things like being inventors and innovators and stuff.
I love it. I love that. I love that so much. So I think we have our other 2 panelists that are going to be joining us, Michaela. Are they here? Are they mic'd up? So we can get our other 2 panelists mic'd up, please. They're going to be replacing these beautiful people here. Thank you both so much. We'll have you come back a little bit later. But we are going to have our young people join us. Is anyone else here who are, you guys are part of the panel as well? Excellent. So we're going to get them mic'd up, y'all, because it is very important that we do this work. So as they're getting mic'd up, they don't get to leave yet. So as they're getting mics up, since we're live, we're going to continue this conversation. So are there any questions that you would ask these young people? Because this is the kind of girl that you actually work with on a regular basis, right? So if you were saying, hey, we want to understand more about your learning process and how would you describe yourself and others, what would you say to these beautiful girls?
Well, I would first learn more about you. I can't give you something I said, oh, this is what you need, if I don't know anything about you. So I let you tell me who you are, who you think you are. Whether you have a bad thought about yourself, I let you be transparent and let you know that you're in a safe place. And that's the first and foremost thing before we can go any further. And let you know that you're loved. That sound good?
Yeah.
You feel loved?
You two are so beautiful. Oh my
You see
God.
the setup? Like we literally, if y'all could turn the cameras around, there's a whole production studio going on in here because we want to make sure that people are aware who you are and why what you say is so important. So I love that. Tell us a little bit more about yourself. If you had to describe yourself to someone else, what would you say?
I'm sort of an introvert.
Introvert?
Yeah. I like baking and cooking, and yeah.
What do you like baking and cooking?
I like just cooking different meals. I'll cook anything, and baking, I like baking cookies.
I love that. I love that. So part of this conversation, which I love, is they wanted to know how students learn. So when you're learning a new recipe, for example, how do you do that? Do you just read it, sample, practice, make up your own thing? What do you do?
I mean, you can make up your own thing, but it's best if you test it out first instead of just going at it before you actually do it.
I love that. I love it. I love it. What about you? If you were describing yourself to someone, what would you say? How would you describe yourself?
I would say that I like to cook and I like to be outside when it's like a nice weather, not cold or hot. I would also include that I've been to a lot of places. I like to travel.
Oh.
That's pretty much it.
So when you say you like to travel, where have you traveled?
I live here and in Arizona.
Oh.
And then I've traveled to Canada, London, Florida, California, Minnesota, New Orleans.
How old are you?
I just turned 13 June 4th.
She just turned 13. I think she may have mentioned 10 different places that she's traveled. So that to me is Black excellence. So let me congratulate your parents for getting you out, right? We got some people saying, I love that. That is so cool. Ooh, we have 2 more people that have joined us. OMG, how are you?
Pretty good.
Yeah. So is your mic on? Can you hear him good, John? I think you're good. I love it. So how are you?
Good, how are you?
Excellent. So we're going to have both of you introduce yourself as well. We're kind of doing I'm getting to know you. This is the getting to know you part of the session. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what's your name, what grade are you in, and then what would you share with others about defining Black excellence or Black brilliance? What does that mean to you?
Okay, so firstly, my name is Samaj Taylor. I am in grade 7, and if I were to think about Black excellence, I think of it as you know, back then we used to not have that much Black excellence, and nowadays we're having Black vice presidents whatsoever. It's really new to us, and it makes us feel happy. And I think it should make others feel happy too.
Interesting. I love that. Now, you guys have learned about Black inventors and the Black excellence that has been around for decades. I mean, if you think about the Egyptians, they were Black people building, come on now, there was Black excellence before time, right, in the earliest of times. So what I love about it is that you're a 7th grader, but yet you're here representing, some of you guys won awards, you're like leaders in the school. What does leadership mean to you?
Leadership to me means it means that you have to stand up for what you believe in and what you want to accomplish.
I love it. I love it. What about you, my dear? Thank you. We'll come back to you. Tell us who you are. What grade are you in?
My name is Leah. I'm in 10th grade.
Yes.
And what was that?
Black brilliance, Black excellence, however you want to think about it. When you're describing yourself or describing someone else, what words would you use?
What Black means to me is
Black excellence.
Black excellence means to me is successful and powerful. You see so many CEOs, CFOs in today's world, and they're Black and they're women. So that's very empowering to me, and I'm sure many others.
I love that. And what about if you had to describe yourself to someone else, how would you describe who you are and what you love to do?
Probably creative, definitely. I love to make art and do fun things like that. Just really creative.
So I'm gonna have you look into the camera. Yes. I'm gonna have you look into the camera. So we are recording this, you guys. We're recording this as part of something called the Black Education Strategy Roundtable Black Student Report Card. And it's really about elevating our voices, how we think about each other. If there are others that you can mic up, Michaela, and have them ready to go, let me know. Part of this panel is meant for us to be able to showcase various topics. So one of the things that they wanted to know about Black youth was if you had to describe how you like to learn, like how have you learned the thing that you love to do the most? How have you done that? Like what do you love to do and how did you learn how to do it?
Definitely from like elders in my life. Like my grandmother is she's always kind of taught me things that I love to do. So that's definitely a way that's been like stuff has been introduced to me in my life.
I love it. What about you, sir? Same question.
Okay, so it's
What do you love to do, and then how did you learn to do it?
what I love to do is honestly just drawing and honestly speaking out. Speaking out to me has been like a thing for me to do for various topics, as if Black excellence, my own beliefs, and whatsoever.
I love that. So I'm actually, so they're going to actually remain part of the larger panel, just so that we're on the same page. So you guys don't go anywhere. Just stay close, because we're bringing you back on. So we talked about this idea of encouraging teachers to speak about us in a positive way. Do you feel like that's happening today?
Absolutely. Yes.
Especially here.
Yeah, especially here.
So tell me, what do your teachers say about you that empowers you, that encourages you? What do you like to hear? What do you need to hear? I mean, this school is a role model for what success looks like when it comes to educators. I think I have a flyer here that says 97% of the students identify as a member of the global majority, and 82% of the staff are members of the global majority as well. So you are in a very unique situation where you're being taught by Black instructors, Black teachers, et cetera.
Right.
What does that feel like to you? And then what are some of the things you've learned from your teachers? I'm taking notes here. What are some of the things you've learned?
A lot of my teachers always remind me that I can do anything I want to do, that I am, Black excellence every day. So it's very empowering to learn from people who look like me.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So they tell you that.
Yes.
They tell you that. So you don't have to question it. And when things happen around you that may make you question it, you can defend that with facts.
Yes.
I love that. Tell me about experiences. Have you felt like you were society or someone or something made you feel a certain way, and then you were able to internally fulfill yourself?
Yeah.
Tell me.
When I was in public school or other schools in the past, it's been, I kind of felt like I was another student. I wasn't really getting, the learning I felt like I deserved. And then when I came here, I felt like I was being taught by people who look like me, who can relate to the same experiences as me. So it made me feel empowered.
I love it. So they had similar experiences.
Yes.
So then you knew that you were actually hearing from people who knew the facts.
Right.
I love that. What about you? Have you ever felt like you were not being empowered, but then you learned something from a teacher, you heard something from their experiences, and it empowered you?
Yes. It was actually at my old school. I had a color teacher, and she was like my first Black teacher. So for me, this is a.
I'm gonna have you look there and not look at me. I know it's kind of odd, but that way we can video. Yes.
Yeah. So I had a color teacher, and this isn't like my first color teacher, or at least I think she was colored.
Yeah.
But she told me stories about how she was mistreated when she was younger.
Yes.
And how she took that and stood up to what she stood for what she believed in her culture.
I love that. I love that so much. So Steve just arrived. We're so excited to have him. Y'all, give a round of applause to Mr. Steve Smith from BESR. Yes. Thank you, Steve. Come on up here. Thank you so much. We're going to bring Steve on as well. So Steve, we're going to scoot you in, bring a chair. Yes. I haven't spoken to these youth yet. Are you mic'd up? Okay. So bring another chair. Is he mic'd up? So he's getting mic'd up. We're going to scoot you over. We're going to try to bring a chair in here. We're going to let this happen. John, you're going to kind of focus over here as I get introduced to these gentlemen. Were you guys part of the original plan to be? You just saw something happening. They're on the list? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So tell us who you are and tell us what grade you're in, and then what does Black brilliance mean to you, Black excellence mean to you?
I'm Tinsai Lopez. I'm in 10th grade.
Yes.
And to me, Black excellence is just Black success and leadership and being able to prove people wrong. And when I say people, I mean like people who put stereotypes on Black people and think that maybe they're not as good as certain other races, and yeah.
Yes, I love that. I love it. We're scooting over just a little bit. We're bringing in some more bodies. So come on, Steve. I love that. So will this work? Oh, sorry, you got to come back in. Just see yourself in the camera. I think this is going to work. Maybe not. John, are we going to make this work? Come this way a little bit more. I'm going to go this way. Steve's going to come in. Okay.
Yeah, I think we good.
Okay, we got it. If you come in just a little bit more. Okay, so what is exciting? So we're going to actually pause this particular, that was intermission, that was the pre-work. Now we're going to pause and we're going to officially start the broadcast. John, so let me know if we're just going to keep going and then you're going to officially start. We're going to bring the flyer back up real quick and we're going to start again. We're just going to continue the conversation. Steve, I'm going to have you do an introduction. It's one, yes. Yes.